Hi all, welcome to Sustainable Fashion Pills, a podcast produced for the European Erasmus Plus project Sustainability, Fashion and Employability Skills, during a 3-year period from 2020 to 2023.
Hello, I'm Maria, a student from Spain. Here I have with me Romain from France and Bea from Portugal. We're here with SFES project at the University of Madeira, and we're with Lindsey, an expert about sustainable fashion. And we're going to talk about implementing sustainability in global brands and design. Tell us more about.
Hi, I'm Lindsey, and I'm the principal investigator in the SFES project, and I'm delighted to be here to be answering your questions in this podcast.
Me too. Even though the design process is considered as using less resources, it can be in itself quite a rich resource for reaching sustainability. So, can you give us an example of a global brand that is implementing sustainability?
Well, I think the most important and recent brand that has come to the forefront of the news is actually Patagonia. That is a real global brand, and the CEO, who's French, I think, Yvon Chouinard, has recently given all over his shares and profits to supporting environmental causes. And therefore, all the stocks have been transferred to a trust, and they're going to use all the profits for in the fight to climate change. And I think so. You know, that's a new era in sustainable brands, and Patagonia is definitely a global sustainable brand.
Yeah, and how is that related to design?
I suppose that creating a global brand and even kind of creating such a big gesture is going to attract a lot more people to the brand. And I think that maybe what they're going to have to do is appeal to a bigger audience and a different kind of customer. So their designers are going to have to take that into account when they are when they're putting the products and when they're designing the products.
And are there any examples of brands in other countries doing the same thing?
Well, actually, this isn't really interesting because when we were preparing this podcast, I used the resources from you, the 3 students who are involved in this podcast. So I have 3 examples from 3 countries. So from France, we have a company called Marine Serre, which uses upcycling and, for example, old towels and old stock to recreate branding. So that's an example of upcycling. Ecoalf in Spain, which again is a global brand. And basically, Ecoalf is much more focused on sustainability within the oceans and reusing plastic bottles, rubbish from the sea, and old fishing nets, for example. And finally, one from Portugal, which is 8,000 Kicks, which is a great name, I think. And basically, they make shoes with hemp. And one particularity that they have is that they make soles with seaweed, which I'd never heard of. And I'm going to, as we're in Madeira, I'm going to try and find a shop that sells them so I can have a look at those shoes.
Really good examples. And what are the main challenges for global brands for implementing sustainability?
I think for global brands, so now I'm talking about global brands as opposed to small, smaller brands, it's really because most global brands have shareholders and investors, and they have to satisfy the investors and the shareholders. So therefore, they have to balance up this idea of profitability with environmental and sustainable actions. So I think for that is really the main challenge that these global brands have.
And are there any particular skills for these brands to take into account to face the challenges of the future?
I think that probably, as I said, from the first example, which was Patagonia, like making sure that their designs appeal to their whole customer base. And also probably taking into account the whole life cycle of the product, so from raw materials right through to the supply chain and right through to what happens to the products at the end of their life. So I think having skills in that area is really important for brands or for companies that want to be more sustainable in the fashion industry.
Well, thanks for everything. I think it was a thoughtful conversation and really enriching for people.
Thank you.
This SFES project is coordinated by Glasgow Caledonian University, and it involves other academic partners such as Universidad Villanueva in Madrid, Universidad Politécnica in Valencia, EDHEC Business School in France, and Universidad de Madeira in Portugal. It also includes industry partners such as Harris Street Beverages, the Textile Group, and the fashion conglomerate Tendam Group in Spain. The objective is to improve employability and entrepreneurship skills in the fashion sector around sustainability and to broaden knowledge for academia, companies, and fundamentally for students involved in the project.